Self-managed super funds are experiencing rapid growth in Australia, but there are a few common mistakes many people make with self-managed super funds that can be easily avoided. To tell us more, we're joined in the studio by Jo Highway, the Director of Engaged Super and a former Telstra Businesswoman of the Year.
Young businesswoman,
Young
yes.
businesswoman, sorry.
I'm going to claim that for a long time.
Yeah, why not do it for the rest of your life?
Yeah, that's right.
So how come you specialise in self-managed super funds? You're an accountant, aren't you?
I am an accountant, a chartered accountant. I started at Deloitte in the super audit division actually 18 years ago, so my whole career has been in superannuation. But I grew up with stories of my grandparents and the struggles they had with super, and really I think through my business I'm able to give back and help others to have a better lifestyle in retirement.
Isn't it funny, like you've been playing in the backyard with your dolls and your male toys as well, I'm not going to be sexist here, and you heard your grandmother and grandfather worrying about things, and you said, I'm going to grow up and be an accountant and save
Definitely not at the time.
Super accountant.
Not at the time, but I think subconsciously,
Yeah,
you do look at those messages and hope to make a difference, I guess, through your work.
Okay, well, a lot of people who are like your grandparents have actually taken their money out of industry funds or retail funds, set up a self-managed super fund.
Yeah.
And I think old hands, people have been doing it for a long time, and new hands are making lots of mistakes. So what are the common ones you see that you've got to sort out for them?
Oh, look, there's plenty. And some are really easy, simple things. Others are really where people are pushing strategy a bit too hard, I guess.
Yeah.
But I guess mostly the mistakes are really basic things. So looking at things like opening a bank account and not having enough money in it, and the account goes into overdraft, for example. Yeah, so keeping the assets of the fund separate from personal assets is really important. So having bank accounts opened in the name of the self-managed funds, making sure there's enough money in it that it doesn't go into overdraft. Having an investment strategy in place is really important. So you're actually documenting what this fund is going to invest in.
Will the tax office actually wrap you over the knuckles if you don't have an investment strategy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
it has to be written down?
It does. Well, the law doesn't say it needs to be written, but for an auditor, if you're going to have a look at it, it's very difficult to say that there's a strategy there if it's not in writing. So the auditor every year, every SMSF in Australia needs to be audited every year by someone like me. We have a whole list of things we have to report.
It's a growth industry, isn't it? It's
it's been the growth industry for a very long time, actually. So 3,500 funds or so set up every month. It's extremely popular.
What about the communication? Like, for example, you get mum and dad, maybe two sons in a self-managed super fund, and really the father's actually playing investment officer, making decisions, not telling people and all that sort of stuff. Is that a big mistake?
It's a big mistake for the other members in the fund that aren't actively getting involved. So the rule with SMSF is that all members of the fund need to be trustees. And so the basis of that is that they're all equally liable for all the decisions that are made. So if dad does make a mistake or do the wrong thing or break the law, the tax office will look at everyone involved. So it's important, but more important is if you're making a decision to be in an SMSF, it's your money. So everyone has their own account balance within that fund. While the assets are all pooled together, every member has their own balance, which they've saved for and they've accumulated over time. Their employers are normally pitching in.
Now, on that point, if I'm in an industry fund, for example, I get regular statements. What is the obligation within a self-managed super fund to regularly report how the fund's going?
Annual reporting is the obligation. What we're seeing more and more with technology is the ability to have daily reporting. So more and more digital systems are being set up.
Yeah, the administration services are pretty good.
They're amazing. They're amazing. And even within my business, we're starting to move towards a daily audit type approach where we're also auditing the fund as we go through. So relevant information online, available essentially 24 hours a day, is the future of self-managed super funds.
Okay. Small business people have often been encouraged to go into self-managed super funds by their accountant. But then small businesses often have cash flow problems. How often do you see them taking money out of their super fund for a short time and putting it back? It's illegal?
It's illegal mostly.
Up to a certain amount you could actually draw out, couldn't you?
It depends. It depends on your structure. So Probably over the last 2 years, because of all the problems we're seeing in the economy, it's been more common than ever before.
Yeah.
The idea about self-managed super is that this money is meant to be there for the future. It's protected from creditors.
Yeah.
So the best place that money can be is within the superannuation environment. As soon as you draw it out, you're opening yourself up to retiring with less than you should, but also having creditors having access to that money that they shouldn't otherwise. Loans to members are definitely out. There's no allowable amount. You cannot loan to a member. Loans to a related business, if there's the appropriate loan documentation, interest is charged, repayments are made on time, and it's less than 5% of the asset.
The 5% rule. Yeah. So if you've got $1 million and you could borrow 50,000 from
you could, absolutely. Is that a good idea? Usually not. The investment strategy would need to allow for it as well, and the rules of the fund would need to allow for it. Most commonly when we see it occur, the paperwork's not done properly, and effectively it looks like early access. So because the members are the business, are the trustees, it can get taxed really quickly because it looks like you've got no intention to put it back, and it's not really a loan, it's just a withdrawal, and the tax office will look at it as early access.
Okay, we're running out of time. Any other important mistake you'd like to underline before we go?
I would say with borrowing, there's a hell of a lot of attention on borrowing in self-managed super, and I am all pro borrowing in self-managed super. In the right situations, it's absolutely perfect. But beware of promoters that aren't specialists, and also know that it's extremely complicated. It's not like borrowing normally. If you're looking at loans for property or anything like that, it's complicated, so get good advice.
Jo, thanks for joining us in the program.
Thank you.
And Jo also writes in the Switzer Super Report, and why? Because she's damn good at it.